We'll turn it over for an opening statement from Tony La Russa.
Well, good morning, and was thinking that last year at this time, we evaluated that we had a good nucleus. It was young, had a couple quality veterans, and we were going to compete and see how it went. Then we played 2015 and had improvements. So we met this winter, had a great scouting staff and front office, and we felt like we were a lot closer to having the kind of fun that the teams, organizations, fans look forward to. What I mean is, it's very simple. And we just play a game against another team. You have a score, play 162 times. You try to get to October, and then you try to be the last team standing. I mean, that's the dream. If you can honestly dream that, that makes it all work. So we recognize we play in a very tough division, and you play in a very tough league, and you got to beat the club in the other league that's very tough. But we looked at our club, and we felt like we could legitimately dream it, and knew how hard you had to work to make it happen. But we needed help. Number one priority, we liked our position players going forward, but we felt like with our young arms that a rotation leader was the number one thing that could really help us. And we all, when I say we all, everybody in our organization, players, members of the Diamondbacks, and I think our fans, I know our fans, we're in debt to our ownership, because this today would not have happened had not Ken stepped forward and made it happen. We were looking for a true number one, a true leader of a staff that would take the ball on opening day, and every time the toughest game, he'd want to be the guy out there, would teach guys like Ruby and Robbie and Patrick and now Shelby, all the other fine young pitchers we got. And we're very fortunate. This young man's in the midst of a great career, and now the next 6 years he'll be having them with us. But I, got to know Zack more from competing against him, and I know there's a credential there that he wants that we all share, and that's to be part of world champion here in Arizona. So with that, we all welcome Zack to our ball club.
Looking good.
That's good stuff. It's called Velcro.
All right, and with that, we'll go ahead and open it up to questions. If you can just make sure you have the microphone, please, because we are live on television. I want to be able to hear the questions. First question, is there a microphone up here or not yet? Oh, here we go, right behind you. Yeah.
Hey Zach, Brad Sussmat, Sports 360 AZ. What was the attraction of Arizona, and how difficult of a decision was this for you?
I guess started around the All-Star break or a little before the All-Star break last season, and the Dodgers were playing Arizona, and just was watching all their position players just running around, making all these great catches, taking extra bases like crazy against us. And then you look in the leaderboard, and they had the best offense in the game, scored the most runs. So I was like, dang, that's a pretty impressive group of guys they got over there. And just realized it then. And then you look at the pitching staff, and they all were talented, but they weren't pitching very good at the time. So they're just thinking like, man, they got something going on there. Just need a couple things, and then could be as good as anybody.
Zach, I'm Zach Buchanan with the Arizona Republic. I think much of this process in the offseason, it seemed like it was Dodgers and Giants, and the Diamondbacks kind of swooped in at last minute. Were they on your radar at all in terms of being a realistic chance of signing here before that Friday when you signed?
I mean, everyone, I guess not everyone, but a lot of teams were a possibility, but then at one point we're just talking to two teams, so when the only two teams you're talking to, you don't really think about other things. But I mean, as soon as Casey told me that the Diamondbacks called, it got me excited, and then it just went from there. I mean, it happened pretty fast, but it was a team I had a lot of experience with. I knew it really well, so it wasn't like I needed a bunch of extra time to get to know people or get to know the city. Being in spring training here the past 12 years, kind of know probably, I mean, more than some people that have lived here for a long time.
Questions? Back again?
Zach, I mean, how close were you to returning to the Dodgers before the Diamondbacks called?
I mean, without getting too detailed, I mean, we were minutes away from going to a different team. And it was that close.
Good question, guys.
Cameron Cox, KPNX here in Phoenix. What's it like to sign a $206 million contract?
I guess I just signed it, but I don't really know. I don't really think about it in those terms, to tell you the truth. I think about it as a team going to it, and then, I mean, you get your contract's what you I guess you do your job, and then whatever it happens, and then you don't really think about, oh, my contract. You think about, okay, I have the next year to go play, and then hopefully another 10 years to play, but you just think about what you could control kind of coming up, not really that part of things.
When you look at the rest of the rotation or the potential pitchers in the rotation, you have a thought or two on the guys that are going to be alongside of you in this rotation, or some of the young arms, Zach, that you've seen with the Diamondbacks?
Mainly, I probably have to get to know them more and see them more. I mean, I've seen all of them throw, but you can't really make a full decision on a person by just seeing them pitch twice. You have to know a lot more about the whole situation, but De La Rosa has an amazing arm. The Dodgers actually hit him pretty well, but he was very impressive, just his stuff. And then Corbin was about as good as anyone 2 years ago before he got hurt. And Archie Bradley, I think people know a lot about him. They have a couple other younger guys, and then they traded for the Ray guy. That his arm is way better than I think anyone gave him credit for when they traded for him. Maybe I just didn't know much about him, but his arm's pretty good. And then, I mean, I don't know how many I've named, but I know we got Sheldon Miller too, but there's like 7 guys that all have all-star potential, so just have to kind of put it together. Sometimes it takes a while. It took me 3 or 4 years before I even had a solid year, and sometimes that's what it takes.
Zach, Steve Gilbert with MLB.com. Having been around ace pitchers before and yourself, what kind of influence can you have on the staff, especially a young staff, do you think, by leading by example?
For me, I don't know how much it was about leading by example, but I know in Kansas City when we signed Gil Mesh, who was a very solid pitcher, and in Kansas City my first 3 or 4 years, there wasn't many solid pitchers around, and when he came around, just seeing a guy that has had some success and then do it, it kind of changed the way my mind worked, and kind of made me think, oh, it's not impossible. And with playing with Kershaw, just seeing him do his thing all the time, it's not so much, I don't know if it's a leadership thing, but just being able to visualize how the best one does it and kind of maybe motivate you. I don't know what it does, but it just kind of has helped me everywhere I've been. And even in Milwaukee, there are some guys that helped me, just seeing people perform well makes things easier.
Zach, Dave Burns from Arizona Sports 98.7 FM back here in the back. Your reaction to the Shelby Miller trade and sort of the going for it now mentality that seems to kind of be permeating these last couple of moves by the Diamondbacks organization?
I guess the media likes to throw out the term "going for it now" a lot, but I mean the way I looked at it is I mean he has another 3 years here. Goldsmith I think has 4 more. Pollock has 3. Most of the guys have at least 3 years under control, so it's not so much a now type thing. It's a pretty good future for multiple years, not just now.
Zach, you're going to be 37 by the end of this deal. A lot of people in the media have talked about why you're a good candidate to age well compared to a lot of the other free agent pitchers. Why do you think you stand a good chance to be productive to that age?
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I hope to, and I'll do what I can, but that's all you can really do. And I mean, you look at trends of guys, but mainly just do whatever you can. There's no exact answer to it, I guess.
Zach, I'm Phil Latzman. I'm with the NPR station here, KJZZ. I know that these are not your favorite settings to be in. When it comes to the anxiety issues, did that factor into your decision at all to leave Los Angeles? And is it still an issue for you at all when it comes to settings like this and other things?
I mean, it's kind of a tough question that I could spend an hour answering, so I'll try to get a 30-second answer. The one thing I guess I wouldn't look forward to is if I go home in the off season and everyone knows who I am, to where you never really have any privacy. That would be the biggest concern. But so far in my career, even in LA, everything's been pretty smooth. So there was no hesitation for that reason to go to any team in baseball.
I guess for Tony and Stu, it sounds like it was a matter of minutes for you guys to get into the last minute to show some interest in Zach. If for some reason that had been flipped and you were a couple minutes too late, how much different would your off-season plan have been?
Well, we went into the off-season with a plan to improve the top of our rotation. And fortunately, we were blessed that we were a minute soon and not a minute late. But the plans would not have changed. We were still going to try to improve our rotation. We probably would have still made a trade of some type for Shelby Miller. And then there are other opportunities that are out there still, and we would have had to explore those opportunities as well. But our plan was to improve the top of our rotation, and we would have still gone forward and try to make that happen.
I think I just would add, Stu's definitely right. I think I would add that when we evaluated free agents and trade possibilities, number one guy on our list was Zach. Especially nowadays where you see a lot of guys throwing and they keep checking the gun to see what the velocity is. I mean, he's got plenty of velocity. He's a true pitcher. I mean, he just makes the ball talk. He hits all his own. So we have him rated number one because he's a pitcher, and that's why we feel like he's really gotten very smart. He just sets up guys and puts them away. As I mentioned in the beginning, to have some of this happen up top, somebody has to step forward, and the gentleman sitting right here. So we're very thankful. that we were able to sign the #1 guy on our list because ownership made it happen.
When you're making a decision, how much did the fact that the Diamondbacks are one of the top defensive teams in baseball factor into that?
I view it more as what team is better, not so much their defense is good. So I mean I viewed it more as just their team being good,
Mhm.
and I've factored that in a lot. But
Sure.
Back again?
This is not a very serious question, but what do you think of the new jerseys?
I mean, I don't know. I guess that was the most popular question so far. I don't really pay attention to that part of stuff.
Zach, a little throwback question for you. It's your first big league home run here in this ballpark. Do you remember it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was very, very exciting. It's a good place to hit. And that is one positive of having good defense is it's a good place to hit, so having a good defense makes it not as impossible to succeed, individually succeed, because to have a bad defense and a good place to hit would be a tough combination.
Zach, Shane Dale with ABC 15, just the time you spent in Arizona, spring training and otherwise, what do you enjoy most about being in the Valley?
There's just a lot of really nice things around here to see and do. The times I'm here, the weather's amazing, so we'll see about summer. And I guess not an exciting comment, but I think the sunsets here are fantastic.
And Zach again?
Damn.
Like a one-on-one.
You would get like a free question after 10 questions or something. Zach, a day or two ago, I think Andrew Friedman said that they did not approach you in spring training about reworking your contract because he thought it would be a distraction to you. Would it have been a distraction, and would you have entertained the idea if they had?
I guess that's not really a question I want to answer. Not the time.
So don't reply
Also-
Zach anymore when he wants to ask questions.
In the back right there?
Yeah, hey, question for Tony and Stu, but do you guys feel with the attention you've gotten this week that you've sort of gone to the forefront here, that the expectations have been raised, that bar is up now about what's gonna happen next season?
I think we've learned that the most important expectation is the one you have yourself. So, I mean, there have been years where we were with a team that the experts thought wasn't very good, and you play good. And sometimes experts are fooled and they think they're good and you're not really very good. So expectations are what you believe in an organization, on a team. And the two parts to that, one is, Zach mentioned, and it's important to reiterate it, by no means is signing Zach or trading for Shelby something we're gonna go for broke in 16. We've turned down deals for some of our better prospects, so we're gonna win for several years. The other part, Chip asked me to mention this as far as the staff. Keep hearing this thing about win the winner, that isn't anywhere in our plans. Plans are for our coaches and our manager to work with our players and knowing the type of competitors we have, especially with a leader like Zach on the pitching side. We know how tough the season's gonna be, so we're gonna take our best shot, that's the expectation, and then you see how good you are. So just ignore, when people write about you, it's what you think, you believe yourself.
Any others? All right, if that's everything, then we want to take a quick group photo here with the four you gentlemen up here as well on the sides.
oldest to the youngest, is that that?
Can I get everyone right here, please?
Yeah, Jen, Stuart, please, in the middle.
Okay,
Quick,
guys.
everybody in the middle there.